Happy birthday!
That was awesome.
Amazing.
Happy birthday, Cami.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We actually
Happy birthday.
we actually have a happy birthday girl on the stream today. Cami, nice to see you and happy birthday.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, so cool you were joining on your birthday. We feel very privileged, and yeah, let's make it a party.
Got my party hat on already.
Yeah, so let me introduce the other guest. We have Amanda Mussi joining us. How are you, Amanda?
I'm good. I just joined last minute, so
Yeah.
you tell me.
That was a surprise. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm still like, okay, what's going on? Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, good to have you on. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And in the last screen, we have Ariel P. Lopez and Victoria Mussi. Welcome to you too.
So happy to be back.
Yeah,
Thank you.
actually, the last time we had both of you on, and there was some connection
Glitchy
troubles.
problems.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded great. I mean, it sounded like a glitched up robot, you know. But
Yeah.
it made the conversation quite difficult. So
Yes.
so there's another chance.
Yeah,
And
it's good to be like good now.
yeah, good to see you in the moving image this time.
Yeah.
Awesome to have you guys. Yeah, so let's make this a party. I mean, it's a nice day here. It's sunny, and I see it's sunny in Cami's place as well in Berlin. It's really nice weather there, right?
Yeah, it's really hot, to be honest. It's a little bit too hot now. Like 28 degrees is when it starts to be a little unbearable for me.
Right.
But I can handle it so far.
Can you
But yeah,
work in your studio when it's that hot, or you having your feet in an ice bucket off screen or something?
Nah.
Yeah, you got the sun and you got the machine. Like what?
It's been really hard the last few days. I came here on Monday, and halfway through my session, I just gave up. Even with my fan, and if I open the window, like, which I really don't like to open the window because it's just gonna interfere in the sound. I just had to call it off and like, okay, I can't unless I'm here at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's not gonna happen. So I just went home, and I'm just gonna wait this heat wave just cools down a little bit, and then I'll come back.
Nice. I see a lot of people joining in and wishing Cami happy birthday. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so let's talk about music. I mean, I think maybe we should give Ariel the first chance, as all the speech was interrupted last time. So, anything you've been working on recently, man?
Yeah, there's a couple of stuff coming on Ed label. There's an LP coming, and he made a new label also. There's another LP coming. The label's Spread, and I can't wait to put that shit out. Like, it's really. I've been working with Ed since, I don't know, 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we got like a really nice connection, and he's helping me a lot also with I don't know, decisions and sound, and also he's like mastering all our stuff from here. So we got a nice feedback.
Cool. So how did this thing come together? Because I guess, you know, because of the distance, you had to work online. So how did that happen?
Yeah, but I met him through Benjamin in Berghain, and they came to play here in my club. And I don't know, after like 2 years, I started sending him stuff, and we just clicked. Like, we're really good friends now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the best things, you know, if they happen spontaneously, I guess.
Yeah. Like that's the thing that we do this, right?
Yeah, exactly. So how did it actually take place? Do you send each other stems, or how did you actually get this thing together? Because, you know, working from a distance, is very different than from working together.
Yeah, but we're not
face to
making
face.
music together. Like he just mastering for us.
Right.
And,
Okay.
and I sent him my stuff, and he helped me like with the sound. And, like he told me like I don't know sometimes what to do with the mixes.
Oh, okay. So it was more like advice and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, like and he also sent me stuff like, "Hey, check this out." Like, oh, you know.
Okay. So how do you take advice? I mean, is it something that you actually discussed? Like, yeah, what do you think? Do you have any suggestions or something like that? Is
No,
that
it's like more sounds wise. Like I don't know if the hi hats are right or the groove is nice. You know. Like,
yeah. Okay, stuff like that.
not so
Okay.
technically.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward, man. So what kind of stuff is it?
Like techno powerhouse. It's like a mix of everything, kind of ravey too, trancey.
Trancy.
Yeah, a bit.
Nice one. Okay, sounds good. So yeah, I mean, I think the last time we spoke, we started speaking about samples, and I think you mentioned an MPC or something. Ooh, now they're frozen.
Uh-oh.
Can you still hear us?
No, they're gone.
Oh dear, another one of those.
Oh, we're back. We're back. We're back.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
You can just come to my room and just in case.
Yeah.
We switch.
Yeah, that's a good solution.
Yeah.
Samples. Yes, we were there.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Okay, let's try again. So the last time I think we spoke about samples, right? Like you use an MPC or something.
Yeah, I tried not to stay on the box mainly.
Mhm.
So I got this Akai filter from the 90s and SP 404 from Roland and
Oh yeah.
and also this I asked Cami like this Elitia thing for the stereo. I also got that one. But what's the name? Is it a saturator or?
Character, yeah.
Yeah, the character.
Great.
Yeah, I got those three things to put shit out from my computer.
Right.
So, like, also the machines, like machines come inside and go through stuff always.
Yeah, the 404 is the one that's there's also I think an SP 303 if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that's older.
Yeah.
That got a really nice sound too.
Yeah, I got one of those as well. Yeah, it's got this sort of cheap DSP thing in there, but if
It's
you
warm.
absolutely. If you dial in the sound just right, you can
Yeah.
get really sort of moody and crunchy
Yeah, and also for hip
textures.
hop, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it became famous because Jay Dilla was using it, right?
Yeah, and also Malib.
Yeah, it's a cool machine.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So actually, maybe move to Kami now, the birthday girl. last time I spoke to you was actually on the chat we had before the epic 9-hour improvisation that you and I were both part of.
Correct.
Yeah, and we didn't speak after. That's a bit strange.
Yeah, we did. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. It was a good fun that day, really good. It was quite
Yeah.
challenging for 9 hours. I was like, after 5 hours, I was just like, wow, okay. Like, I learned a lot of stuff that day, to be honest. Like, and I think the main thing I learned is that if I'm gonna jump for 9 hours, I need more gear just to keep me like, just focused and just switching between things. Like a little more. Like, let's say I needed like a drum machine or maybe another synth because I just had my modular system and a few effects.
Hmm.
And I think if I had a few more things, it would have been a little bit more, for me, like a better flow, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it surprised everybody how sort of coherent it came out. Because if you have how many was it? 9 people or 8?
9.
Yeah, it was on your end at Mike's studio at Wiesenweg studio. You and Mike and Fadi Mohem. And on our side, we had Robin Kamschoor, Charlton, Megan Laber, Colin Benders, and myself. So it's am I forgetting forgetting someone? I don't know. I don't think so. But it, with so many hands on, with so much gear, at the same time, it can easily descend into chaos very, very quickly. But it sounded nice. Everybody was really controlled and behaved very well, I think.
No, absolutely. I think also because it was like a 9-hour jam. People like going out and coming back in and having a little break. So I think that time is like, you give space to other people just to do their own thing for a bit as well. It's nice. It's really nice. Yeah, I think it worked like really like amazing. Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, it's true. In situations like that, you have to leave some room for other people to do things. But still, considering the 2-bar delay on both sides, it's still you're kind of playing in the dark because you also don't have physical contact. We had this sort of video connection going on, so people could see each other, but still, it was a very unusual thing. But I'm really happy it came out. It was super fun. It was amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Fun.
So, if people who are watching this on Twitch and have any questions or want to join the conversation, just feel free to drop comments and we will get into them if we can. So thanks everybody for joining us there, and hopefully we won't ignore you the way we always do. So Amanda, have you been working on anything recently? Like we were just discussing these tracks that you did for the Colombian compilation.
Yeah.
How did that came out?
So that was the last thing I did, and it was a very nice surprise because Victoria and I never did a track together before, and we were thinking about it, like we need to write an EP together and have a whole like planned thing. And Exos messaged me and invited me for the compilation and asked me to invite Victoria. And I actually had a track that was pretty much like developed. I don't know, the whole like the main idea was there, and I just had this idea like, okay, I'm just gonna send you this, and if it works, we just release it. If not, we just do like one track each and we send it. And it worked really well and really fast. And we barely spoke, right? Like we had like just like a 2-round feedback, and it was just impressive how fast it went and how nice it sounded. Like I think sometimes if you think too much, you end up screwing it up. And sometimes you have to let it go the way it is, because you just lose perspective when you are like overthinking, overhearing, and I don't know, or maybe we were just lucky for that very first time. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, and so we did it in like 5 days or something, right? And yeah, and 2 versions, and we were like, wow, that was really fast. So now that I moved to Paraguay to spend the rest of the year here, and now we're gonna be just close to each other. I'm living with Ariel in his flat, so his studio is like the front door of my bedroom. That's amazing. And anyway, yeah, and the last things I did a lot of remixes from last year to this year, and everything got delayed, so I think everything's gonna come out kind of on the same time, like maybe from this month and on. And everything got postponed, so I think everything's gonna come out at once. I'm working on a remix for Spencer Parker.
Oh.
And yeah, we're very good friends, and he did a remix for me in the past. Now he asked me for a remix, and I normally do techno tracks and techno remixes, and it was really fun to work on a more housey thing because I just missed it. You know how it goes. Sometimes you're just like one way or the other, depends on how you feel or whatever. And yeah, and then I did a remix for these 2 Chilean artists, Persona and Mijo. No, Mijo is from Mexico, sorry. and it's also coming out soon. And then I have a remix for Marshall from Milan. It's coming out on CD, like a physical CD, which is like
Oh,
super
CD.
fun. Yeah, yeah, and yeah. So well, and now I have more remixes forthcoming, like for Brazilian labels, and I don't know. I just turned to be a remixer, like from last
Yeah.
year to this year. Oh, that's all I do, basically. And I just released my first EP on LPZ Records, Ariel's label, and yeah, it came out this year. And yeah, that's pretty much everything.
It sounds like a lot of stuff. Yeah, lots of remixes. So how do you usually approach remixing? Do you have some kind of system to it, or are you just feeling it out whenever you get the parts or whatever?
Well, basically, I have a very little knowledge on gear, and I basically own nothing. So, because I started producing not so long ago, and I basically do everything with my computer, or when I come over to Ariel's or someone with the studio, then I just like sample the gears and jam and whatever. So with remixing, it's basically cutting and pasting and trying, and I try to work as much as I can with the original parts and then see if I need to add something else. I normally add a thing or two. I don't like to like change so much of the track. I really like it to sound with the main essence of it. And at least the standard that was happening is I'm usually like making it faster and like more like pitched up, like changing a bit of the tones and stuff like that. And yeah, maybe adding like hats. Like I usually add more hats on top of it always. So I like it to keep it simple, but work on like the details of like the sampling and the cutting and the editing, slicing the vocals, so like trying to deconstruct it.
Yeah, because the thing is with remixes, sometimes you get some people's approach is to, like you said, to respect the original and kind of give your own flavor to it. But other times, and I'm guilty of that myself as well, just take one sound of the original and basically build a whole new track around it.
Yeah, which is not wrong either. I like
no, of course.
Ways. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, for a while I had a system, or not a system, but like the tendency to just use one or two sounds and completely fuck those up, and then just make something completely new. I feel like when I'm doing something that is too similar to the original, it's not really it's not really a remix, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like to put stuff in the sampler and just like messing around till you get another stuff from that stuff.
Yeah, I think some people just do versions, right? It's like too close from the original. That's like I really like to play when the track has vocals. That's like my favorite part, because I really like to slice it and make it sound different, or make it sound like the same person with another voice and stuff like that. And always putting my flavor on it, not just doing an extended version of it, because then it's just like a version.
Yeah. So Victoria, have you done some remixes, and do you have an approach to it?
It kind of like what you said. I like to move things around a little bit and like distort what's happening, but keep like the overall line and groove of the track, but then change the elements a bit. I think the last remix I made was of Ariel's track. I think that was the last time, for Counter Change. So something I definitely like. Yes.
Was it approved?
Yes, it was. It was approved, I think.
Nice.
It was a big deal for me because, like, a very big deal for me to do that for him. Like he's right next to me. I never said this to him, but he's one of the people that I most admire. So I was kind of nervous about it.
Yeah.
Very nervous about it. So yeah.
So
I don't know if it was approved. We never talked about
no, it was
it.
nice.
well, maybe this is the time.
Yeah.
Oh, super nice. She's the best.
The remix is dope. I heard it. And Ariel did a remix for me as well this year, and it was like super cute too. We're all like family here, right? It's really nice to be like collaborating and remixing all of us. Now we have to do one for each other, Victoria.
Yes. I'm up for that.
We're cousins. Second cousins. Our dads are cousins, actually.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so the one you did together, was it you? I assume you did this in the same space, right? Or did you work from a distance, like face to face, or?
Amanda and myself?
Yeah.
No, she was in Brazil at the time, and she sent me the stems.
Oh, okay. So you actually didn't work together on it in person, but you actually did it from a distance.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why she was saying that it was kind of weird because we did it super fast and it developed. I don't know how, like, it came out fast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think it is definitely possible, but I find that working together, spend time together is in the same space is really helps to move the project along quicker.
Of course.
Not I'm saying that it is possible to do it from a distance, but I've done loads of those as well. But you end up spending more time emailing and updating versions and sending them back and forth.
There's nothing like a nice jam and just like bam and you got it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since she got here, she's been saying, Victoria, when are we gonna do something together? You need to, and it's my band. Like I've been, kind of.
Well, we're just busy. Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Are you guys still using the decks for mixes like always? Or
who are you talking to now?
to you and to Kami.
Okay. To me and to Kami.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the question again?
If you always use the desk for like the final mixes of your tracks.
I don't know, Kami.
You mean like I do a final mix down, and so I'm confused. Like
Yeah. You jam on, you put it like you record on Ableton and then you mix down.
I normally like the way how I work. It's very simple, but also like I don't think people would like to see me working because I'm just like recording and kind of jamming. But then I record bits and then I process them with effects and then I record more. I generally tend to make a track out of 2 machines, like let's say 1 module, 1 synth, and then I just process them over and over again, create lots of layers with feedback, delays and things like that. And then I tend to just at the end, I tend to just chuck a lot of things out because it's really difficult to sit sometimes, everything together. So less is more, but I like to just keep adding, and this is just the way I just flow with it, I just try to limit myself. I think the limitation for me is really important because when you look at here, I have quite a lot of stuff, but I don't tend to use them all at one go because I don't want to get distracted, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's generally 1 or 2 machines that are doing the main job all the time, and I just think that formula works for me. I went through a lot to get to that point now that I know this is the way it works and I don't want to change it. So, because I failed many times, I was always like, oh, I need this gear because this gear is going to be the best.
Yeah.
Classic, so I know now what works for me and the sounds that I can get with certain machines and what I want to do with it. So if I want to keep my little formula that I want to make my kind of identity, I know what I'm going to do. So I'm sticking to it for now.
How do you choose what you're gonna use in one certain moment? Since you want to keep it simple, and I see that you have quite
I normally work with my modular. There's one module there that I use in all of my tracks, and I find it very versatile. And I can get a lot of sounds out of it that are very different. So, like I said, I record one take of like 10, 15 minutes, and then I chop it, and then I record another take. And then as soon as I start processing them, it just turns into something else.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to start adding more. Oh, I like this sound and this, and then turn another machine on. I just kind of I try to just keep it concise. Of course, I might add one thing here and there when I think it needs, but I try to stay away from it.
Yeah, I kind of do the same.
Yeah, delays and feedbacks, and it's just taking the whole just taking like the whole of the space of the track already, like making it filling it up. So I can't just add more elements. It's hard.
Yeah, limitation is something that comes up all the time in these chats. People who have a lot of gear. They find ways somehow to stick to just a few pieces because because if you use everything, thing becomes like a total Frankenstein setup, and you lose track of what you're doing. And, yeah, it's the best, because if you zoom into one thing, you tend to, I guess, work harder or find out more about the range of the instrument as well, so you can get more sort of specialized sounds rather than just use whatever comes out of it when you turn it on and then go with that. So it's limitation is a thing.
Yeah, the workflow gets easier now, right?
Definitely. I mean, I think everybody learns that within time. It's the process we have to go through it, So
yeah,
it works for me. So I guess it works for a lot of people as well, especially for hardware. It's just I think.
So what is
nice to have stuff there. Sorry.
What is that module that you always use? Which one is it?
It's the Elements.
Oh, okay,
Elements
right.
module. Yeah, I use it quite a lot, and I record it over and over again. And actually, I just got myself a new module for my birthday called Plonk from IntelliJ.
Hey. Oh, yeah.
I actually, if 1,000 Details is there, he recommended me to buy that. I don't know if he's in the chat. So he was a guy that was like, okay, you should get that because he also had Elements. And he also had the same problems that I had with Elements, which sometimes can be really difficult to sit in the mix because it sounds quite harsh. And he said you should look into Plonk. Maybe you will find it a little bit better. So I got it. I'm looking forward to testing out because they are quite similar, I think. I think the Plonk is a little bit more menu diving. I'm not entirely sure yet because I just got it. So I need to get my head around it. So I'm looking forward
I think Plonk is meant to be more like a percussive instrument, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's like Elements is got more than Plonk, but I think Plonk has some sort of very similar sounds. More Elements.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Shout out to Gustavo for recommending that.
Yes.
So you tend to record something. Are you going through the desk because I see you have one of those really nice Toft ATB.
Yeah.
That's an awesome mixer.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Like,
you track through the mixer to your computer? Okay, so you print basically you print the sounds with the treatment of the desk.
Yeah, I like to drive it a little bit as well, because it's such a nice sounding desk. So I mean that's why I bought it. So I have to use it, and I also really like the EQs. They are super musical. Like to do the more kind of corrective kind of EQ, I can use fat filter and other things, but I think for coloring, I really like this desk. I would like to
lovely
have
mixer.
The 16 channels. I have the 8 channel now, but to be honest, like I said, the limitations somehow makes me work on it well. I think less is more at the moment. 16 probably would be ideal, but then you never know. I might just get overwhelmed and start adding too many things, and then I get lost in the jam. So for now, this really it suits my flow, basically.
Yeah, it's got 8 channels, but it also has groups, right? So are you using those groups at all?
Yeah, exactly. I can do a lot with it, so it's great for me. It's working now, so I'm just gonna stick to the team, the winning team. It's like a saying, isn't it? When the team is winning, you don't change. You know what I mean? Just keep going with it, and maybe in a few years I can upgrade for the desk with some channels. So.
Yeah. So Ariel, you said you know the desk. Have you worked with it?
Yeah, there's a studio we want to record. I got one of 16 There's one guy that got like sweet. My brother is getting a studio. Like he's a drummer, and we were thinking to get one of those. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I really like it.
Great. Honestly, I recommend. I mean, I heard a lot of stories from people that they said, "Oh, I had some problems like with the faders and like this and the pots. Like they just
It's
got
really
it."
solid and sounds super
Yeah.
good.
I mean, I guess you have to look after it. To be honest, I haven't actually. It's a little bit dusty. I need to just give it a little bit of love. But you know, like it just happens, you know. But it's important to just look after your gear, you know, so it lasts. Especially something like that is very delicate, I think. So
Yeah.
it's not like something you're gonna smash it. You know, you're not gonna take it to a live scenario. You know, it's not.
Yeah,
that
you're not
kind of
gonna take it to the club. No way.
Oh my god, no way. Imagine that. No way, yeah. I don't think it would last, to be honest. Like, I don't know, yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
which one do you have? So you got like a big one.
Oh, you mean the one behind me here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually there's two mixers and they're both DDA. Like I think they're like from the early 2000s.
Nice.
And they're like a British desk, you know. It's got. I mean, if I've used it, it's a sort of not. It's sitting there now, but the other one is on the table behind me, or it's in the back of the table. And recently we've put it there so we can track stuff through it, you know. So we build. The way I usually work is because there's too much gear to have it permanently connected, you know. So basically, for every project, I choose like a limited amount of instruments, and then sometimes go straight into the sound card, or make a chain of stuff before it goes into the sound card, to print with effects and
like sound design before.
Yeah, like making a
Nice.
flavor of making a flavor before you actually record it, and I like it that way because if you keep all the options open throughout the process, you tend to
Yeah,
spend
it's
way
too
more
much.
time. Yes.
Absolutely.
I think
So,
when
yeah.
you got inspired by the sound, you just go with flow, and that's the
Yeah.
beauty of doing this.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also even if down the line, things are a bit out of context, I fix it, in the box, and also the process of fixing things introduces a certain character to it, So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
And also
even
you
if-
can cut stuff and
Yeah. So it's just the quickest way to just record everything. I do multi-track it. I've done stuff where I was just recording the stereo out of something and then basically just take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But the quickest process, I think, with the biggest chance on a good end result is just to record the stems, not everything, but like groups of stuff, and then just straight to
Yeah.
disc,
Yeah.
and then maybe touch it up in the box a little bit. But it's the quickest way, Just press start, see what happens.
Yeah.
That's a
Great.
good approach.
Yeah, what I learned a lot, like from this workflow, I think Aria taught me a lot about this. It's just
Is that me? I think it's the internet in there.
Are they both gone?
Yeah, they're
I'm
both.
back.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wait.
you're back. You're back.
one is back.
Yeah, we're back. Oh yeah,
Two down.
and then it's like just like choose wisely your elements, like Kami said, and do not use like 30 things and focus like in just like a few, and just like record it and leave it.
I think
Yeah.
she's gone again now.
Mhm.
She definitely left. She said, "Leave it."
Yeah, and I just started to move much faster, and like my whole creative process got better when I learned to do like that
I
instead
need to
of
open the door for my cat.
Oh, cats! Please. Yeah.
Yes, bring cats. Cats away.
Yeah.
Let's have some cats.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I just started moving faster when I learned it to do that way because, like Kami said, I was getting like lost with too many things going on. And yeah, just feeling like unattached. Like, okay, if you don't like this, you just don't have to keep on doing it. Just like leave it, listening to it in 2 days or whatever. It's gonna sound different. And yeah, it works really well for me. Just like do not attach too much to the project.
Yeah, that's a thing, you know. If you get too attached to it, then you might make some decisions that you regret down the line. You know, if you, it's sometimes good to just leave it for a while and then come back to it and then get a sort of fresh perspective on things.
Yeah, you lose time on it, and I just feel like, well, when I released my the EP with Kami on Unterwegs, I just did like a main track. Then I just saved it with another name and worked on something else, just like to keep using the same instruments. So we had like an identity. And then the same thing I saved with another name until I did like 5 or 6 demos, like working around the same idea. And that was the first time I worked like that. And it really changed the way I do things. It became much faster and more productive. I feel like now I don't get like struggling with, well, if it's not working, I'm just trying something else with the same elements and leave it, you know.
So you said you work mostly in the box. Do you have some kind of way to interact with the sounds via some kind of controller or something? Is there something you use, or do you everything?
It changed from time to time. I had MIDI keyboard. I had MIDI controller as well. I had 303 back in the past. Sometimes I'm just like I'm always changing. Sometimes I'm just like working on sample banks. I recorded on my own at someone else's studio, so it's basically like that. And yeah, I don't really get too much. I don't know. Worried about that. Like I'm always sitting around with people with everything. And now I moved here to Paraguay, so I just sold all my stuff and didn't want to like carry anything else. I like to be like to keep on learning new things. And yeah, I work pretty well only with the computer. For me, it works really well. If I'm gonna use some gear, I prefer it's just like analog and I can do more stuff, or maximum MIDI keyboard, but just like these portable ones. Yeah,
the reason I'm asking is because having some kind of manual control gives you a bit more. I don't know. That's just maybe it's true for me only. You know, because I'm used to using hardware, but you know, to be able just to go by feeling instead of looking at the screen too much. How do you find that a barrier somehow, or is it you don't care? Can you
actually no? Because I'm a graphic designer before I was DJing and producing, so I'm really used to spend over 10 hours in front of the screen.
Right.
Actually, I don't even see time passing by, so it's really not uncomfortable for me. But of course, the more I can do with gear and touch all the machines, the workflow is so different. And even though when you like record it and then you're gonna edit on the computer, it just feels different. Of course, it's always better, but really, it doesn't bother me. I really like to be like slicing things on Ableton. It's a fun part for me, besides the creating part. So it's not big, but I think it's because I'm really used to work with the computer. Yeah.
That makes sense, honestly. I think it makes sense, like what I do, because I've always played vinyl, so I have this thing of, you know, I need to be, you know, touching something, and every time, you know, when I started producing, I was using Ableton. I'm like, okay, I never got into making music in the box. That never really worked for me until I first bought like a synthesizer. I was like, okay, now I feel like I enjoy this. You know, I don't know, I cannot explain. You know, so
yeah, I totally came from that. I'm just I'm just happy I can actually spend 10 hours on my computer doing something I really love and not making someone else rich. So I'm just thankful for that. I used to be so exploited in my graphic designer jobs. So I'm just like, yeah, okay, I can be like here 20 days. I don't care.
What was the first synth you got then, Kami?
Um, Good question. I have it here. It's a really, really old version of the MFB. I think was the first ever MFB that came out. I can't remember. Is it MFB 1? I don't know. I don't even know it anymore. It is somewhere, but I don't really use it. And then the second one was this guy here, was a Juno 60.
Oh yeah.
It's just after, yeah. But at the moment, is a little bit of a museum there. It's gonna be activated at some point, but it's just I go through phases of thinking I want to sell it, but then I almost did, and then the day that the guy was gonna come and pick it up, I had to say, I'm really sorry, I changed my mind. I'm so angry with me, He was like, I can't believe it. I said, I'm really sorry. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna regret it, because I bought it from a good friend, because he had two. He had two. He says, okay, I'll sell you one. He actually lives in Netherlands. Marco Spaventi, I'm not sure you know him. He's master engineer. Spaventi, Marco.
Oh, yeah.
Engineering, yeah. So Marco sold me this, I don't know, it was like more than 10 years ago. And then I have also this feeling like of attachment, like a friend, and, I can't, I just.
It's a beautiful sin.
Yeah, I know. It was a moment, I had that moment. I said, I'm gonna buy something else. It's one of those moments when you just have clock in your head, And now I think I'm okay. I've passed that phase, and that was a horrible experience, making someone upset as well. So I'm never ever gonna do that again. Yeah.
Which Prophet is the one in the top?
This is the Rev 2. This one, yeah. Yeah. I use that as well for almost all my tracks, really. It's mainly that, like the modular, the drums from like the Joe Mox. I always use the kick. I love the kick from Joe Mox.
Yeah, I used to have the kick on my system. I sold my system recently, and I got the Tempest.
Oh, nice. And how is it going? Are you getting on with it?
Good. I love the Tempest. You can make a lot of stuff just inside out.
Okay, I never used it. Yeah,
yeah, you can. It's one of those machines you can write entire tracks without using anything else. Yeah,
and the swing is amazing. It's like the Roger Lynn swing. It's like the MPC, so it's like super organic. I really like it.
Nice. Yeah, I would like to have a go one day, maybe. Yeah, definitely. It's a funny one, because every time people are like, "Oh, did you see this new machine?" and I'm like, "No, I don't like to look, because if I look, I want to buy it." It's always like that, so I'm kind of like, don't show me, because I'm gonna like.
Yeah, I was lucky. I got a friend borrowed it to me like for a year. So last time I went to Berlin, I took it with me, and I stick to it, and it's like
nice.
I really like it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've seen some people playing live with it as well. I can't remember if it was.
Blau one. Blau one. Yeah. They got two.
Ah, right. Okay. Nice. Do you have one as well, Johan?
A Tempest?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, there was one time when somebody brought one to the studio, and to be honest, I was kind of intimidated by it. It was, it's not one of these things you sit down with and you can instantly find your way around it. You have to kind of get your head around it a bit. But I didn't have enough time to do that. But the sounds were, they sounded. It has a really specific sound on its own, I guess. But I didn't get really deep into it, so I wouldn't be able to comment on it. But it's a very versatile machine for sure. But Kami, you in your tracks, you always have these really sort of driving percussive type things. Is it all coming from your drums, or do you also use synths to generate them, or samples, or whatever?
Elements. I just mess around with elements.
Really?
All the time,
also for also for the percussion.
But I process
like you jamming the same line and just tweaking your scene, and then tweaking the sound and layering.
Like I record one take, and then I record another take, and then sometimes I record for like 20 minutes, and I get the best bits of it, and I put them together, try to make them sit, and that's where some problems arise, of course.
Yeah.
I make it sit, and I also have the drummer, like a gate, which I like to chop the rhythms and like do like little things. And I've recently finished this remix, which I used it, and it worked so well. So I'm really actually really happy. Yeah, I'm just experimenting with things, but mainly I don't use samples or anything. It's just machines and processing them over and over with pedals, like feedback loops, and yeah, just messing around really, like just not trying to make it too complicated, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, playing around is probably the best way to come up with something. Yeah, just trying things out. Never be afraid to try something.
Totally. I mean, I never come to the studio like, oh, I'm not one of these people that have these. Oh, I'm gonna make this track sounding like this. It never happens for me. It's just like I'm going in. I'm gonna have a jam and let's see what comes out of it. I'm just coming in with a blank page and let's see how it goes. And I just go with the flow. If I get something, I'm okay. I can work on this. I really like this, and I just like drive it up, and then I try to turn into a track. If not, then I just keep jamming, until I'm happy with something. Really, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, if and that's the thing about getting something interesting is not to try to work towards a certain goal, because you're always going to be off. It's way harder to replicate something or to make something sound exactly like you have it in your head. That's just almost impossible, to be honest. You can get a long way, but it takes away the fun. It's much more fun to just to fuck around and see what happens, and then accept what's.
Yeah, you don't need to come out every day with a nice track. It's just like having fun. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I find it impressive that people actually they can have that in their head and they can put it down into a track. I find it amazing. I'm like, full respect for doing that. It just I've never had that. I don't have this thing, because for me it's more like I just want to jam and make a loop and like drums, and yeah, it's just a different vibe, I think, than just
it's like exercising. I think the more you just do it, the more your brain works on that flow and makes you like your creativity or inspiration, whatever shows up. It's not like if you're not in constant touch with that activity, you just don't like go there, So I think even like fooling around like with instruments, even doing silly things, it's really like helping to exercise that side, right?
Yeah. No, totally, absolutely.
There's a comment from DJ Nisek.
Nisek, yeah, he's a friend from Brazil.
Shout out to Nisek. He says, before selling anything, hide it in the closet for a few months and to see if it would be really missed. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I'll take that advice. Yeah, definitely.
The other thing is I've got this tactic, which is the opposite. It's like when I'm hit by some gear lust, and I think, I really need this thing, and I should buy it. That can obviously be a very dangerous thing, because you might end up buying shit which you never need. So I put it in the shopping basket and I don't touch it for a month. And you know what? 99 out of 100 times it disappears. It's like, okay, maybe in like a week after I think, what was I thinking? Forget about it. Never mind.
I have a friend. He bought He bought a gear. I think he was an Octatrack or something. So he bought it on eBay and he used the gear for like one day. And returned it. He bought it on purpose to try it, because you can't just go on a shop and buy it in Brazil. He literally like touched everything and tried everything and just returned it and got his money back.
Yeah, there's a lot of these online stores that stopped the policy for certain instruments, especially for CDJs, because many people, they bought like 3 or 4 CDJs and then learned how to DJ and then returned them out, just before the... so
before the first gig.
Oh, that's hilarious. Like, never ever even thought about that, actually. I mean, of course, if I buy something, I would try, and if I don't like, I will return if I don't think it fits. But I wouldn't just
but it happened. I got Octatrack and I sell it like right away. Like, it's really nice, but super hard to use.
Okay. Let's go. This is the Octatrack part of the chat. We always somehow end up here. So we actually had Federico from Aura Music. he has the best story because I think he bought it 4 times, and sold it 3 times. Finally he settled on it. That I don't want this, and so I should return it. And then he was like, maybe I should give it another try. And it happened like 4 times. So that's
Yeah, I was
it's
thinking.
pretty
I was
crazy.
thinking that.
Everyone
Yeah.
I know says that.
Well, I had it, and I just it was just sitting there. It was just clocking, for like 6 months, and then I looked at it. It's a really expensive clock. I need to get rid of it. And I just did it, So it just, I don't know. It's just a little bit not my thing. I don't know, But maybe I'll buy it again, So,
You would not be the first one for sure. Yeah.
exactly,
So, but what was the problem with the Octatrack then, Ariel?
I don't know. Menu diving and it just don't work just for me. I like the
It's not
sound though.
comfortable.
The sound is really nice, but I don't know. You see, so I don't know that I'm not like the menu guy. I don't read sometimes the menu. And
Well, that's the thing,
yeah.
I mean, with most hardware, you can just unbox it and try sort of start trying do things and always usually something
sometimes
happens
you
and
just
you
connect
can,
with something and that's it.
Yeah,
don't need
exactly.
you don't need to read. It just work. And with the Tempest, I got that. So it's like, that's it.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so
Or the NPC. I never read the manual.
yeah, for some pieces of gear you don't need to, but I think if you really want to make use of the Octatrack, because there's so many things in there. I mean,
Yeah.
we discuss the Octatrack all the time, and we should actually call the Octatrack Twiddlers Hangout at some point. But
Have to make an
everybody,
Octatrack special episode.
Yeah.
maybe get some of the Electron guys
Yeah.
on.
What about Electron guys? We can try. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody who has the Octatrack is using it the same way. Everybody has their sort of special use for it.
Yeah. The
And
Fiat
it
guys,
can.
they
It's like a
use it
chameleon.
proper.
Yeah, it's like a chameleon. You can use it for sequencing. Some people just absolutely love the MIDI sequencing on it. Obviously, all the sample features, but people are using it to chop samples or to do sound design or whatever. But it's so versatile. You always
The
feel,
sound is amazing.
yeah, it sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice sculpting machine. If you want to do sound design, it's really
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, anyway, so that's the Octatrack thing. Anybody has an experience, Amanda or Victoria? Ever tried one?
No, not really, but I really like how it sounds, and I've worked with a lot of sounds coming from the Octatrack. Yes.
I touched a bit in Ariel's previous studio on the LPC studios. The time we did tracks with Ananda that summer, but it was all like plugged. I was just like, and I love how it sounds. But yeah, everyone I know that owns it said the same thing, and I was just okay, fuck it.
Yeah,
Same
it's
opinion.
definitely needs some time. It's some time investment. It's a good
Oh.
comment from Nisek. He actually said that.
I don't even. I'm the one, like, I hate manuals person too. I just don't. I can't. I try to read them, watch tutorials. I need to just like do it and learn it while I do it. So
Yeah.
not the manual
The
person.
Octatrack, you have to read the manual, I think, like to just get into it.
Yeah, I can totally get into it. For me, it was also this. It sat there for a while, and then I decided, okay, let's just make it worth it, and I spent probably a few days even, with just trying things out and try to remember it next time I go back to it, because that's another thing. You can
Yes.
you can
That's the problem. The memory.
Yeah, that's the problem.
yeah, you use it, and then you develop your kind of way to work with it, and then you go back to it, and after a week and it's all gone. You have to basically spend so much time with it and make it familiar to your workflow, and then it works. But anyway, it's worth it. I think it's a very powerful machine.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just it was I didn't feel it at all. Like I just think I don't like the whole thing with all the effects inside and all in one box kind of thing. It doesn't work for me. I don't vibe with that. Just, I don't know. I need to have my things separate, you know, that whole system of having one box that can do a lot of things. Yeah, I was not into it. I think that's probably why. Yeah. Like it's a sampler, it's a sequencer, it's got effects, it's got everything, you know. For a lot of people, I think it works. Yeah, definitely. The idea was to buy that to play live, but it obviously, you know, who knows? Maybe in 6 months' time, you know, I just decide to get it again. I would like to get the Circlone, but I don't know when. I'm on the waiting list whenever that will happen. So fingers crossed.
Nice. Yeah, Circlone
Nice.
shout out. That's another one that comes up very regularly. Yeah, have you tried it? I think I mean, Mike has one, right? So maybe
Mike
you've
has
used it
one,
in his studio. Yeah.
I got a friend that got it here too. Sweet. If you got a lot of stuff, it's really nice.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that I can see myself.
So you can
getting
be like
on with
you
it.
can sit there and everything's gonna move around you. It's like it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on the fly, you know, kind of
Yeah.
cool stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I can see myself working with it, you know. But my partner, who I share the studio with, he bought this sequencer called the Engine, which is arriving tomorrow, and that is also an amazing sequencer. So I'm
That's the white and red one.
the white
right?
one, white red one, yeah. They're not.
It's really nice
they're not
too.
manufactured anymore, yeah. So like we found it on Facebook, and he was like, "I'm gonna buy," and I was like, "You're gonna buy, I'm gonna buy." We were kind of both like, "Who's gonna buy?" And he said, "I'm buying." I was like, "Fine." Right, and I'll use it when you have. So I'm looking forward to playing with that as well. Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
So what do you have?
Also looks cool.
What do you have going on in terms of sequencers now? Then to control your modular and stuff.
I have the Verbers, the multi-stage. I have
Oh,
the
yeah.
Doopfer, the Mac. But you can't see because it's in front of me here. You know the big one, the old school Doopfer.
Yeah, like the
Max.
three rows of 16. That one. Yeah.
I really like that as well. And I also have the Dark Time, which is not. I put it away because I'm not really using it at the moment. So these two are kind of doing the job here for me. I'm pretty happy with it. So.
Dark Time is nice too. Yeah, I don't own one, but I've had people over here who use them, and some people are using two. You know, if you can sequence one with the other, it gets really crazy very quickly. So it's it's a nice handy one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I did think of selling it, but then again, I said I'm not, because it might come in handy, you know, at some point I'll need it. So I'm just going to keep it for now. Yeah, let's see. But it's really good. I really recommend as well. Yeah.
Speaking of the Circlone, our friend Split Redix is famous for his Circlone tutorial videos, and he's doing a new one. He's uploading one, so let's check it out. When everybody head over to his channel after this and see what he come up with. I hope it was on the auxiliary functions. I think he was on the show a while ago. So Stefan or Steven, let us know what is the angle on the video. Would be nice. So yeah, cool. So it's So he's saying it's an aux event one. Nice one. So Ariel, do you have any favorite sequencers? Anything you use except for the MPC?
I'm using mainly Ableton now, and the MPC. That's it.
Right.
And I have the one that looks like a 303 on my system. I don't remember the name. Like the
Acid Lab.
Acid Stepper.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Acid Stepper. I don't know. I can use. I like the Dark Time too.
Yeah, so you know, if you have an MPC and Ableton, what is the division of the roles between the two? What do you use one thing for, and what do you use the other thing for mostly? Do you build your rhythms on the MPC or something, and then
yes,
record
and
them
also
into
and also I put I got the 3000, and the conversion is really nice, and the input also. So I put like the BSTs or whatever comes from the computer, like through that if I want the filter, I have to sample, but like just put it through there and give like a little saturation, give like a nice flavor, and it sits like really well on the mix. This MPC sound kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really tight, a really tight punchy
Yeah, and
sound.
also
Yeah.
the MSF 42, the filter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I use that one a lot.
Yeah. It was actually made for people who were using MPCs,
Yeah,
which felt
it
you
came with
didn't have.
a 2000. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's really nice. And also got like a kind of phaser effect.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
good
Phase shifter.
for the
Yeah,
hi hats and shit. It's like
yeah,
nice.
yeah. We actually did a sound pack this month that we give away to our patrons, and it was done with an SDS-8, the old Simmons drum synth,
Oh,
and
nice.
it was running through the Akai MFC 42, like the filter.
Yeah, sick.
So that combination actually rocks. You can. I mean, the SDS is a really powerful synth, but if you add a little bit of flavor with a
Yeah.
filter or something that is sort of enhancing the sound a little bit, it's really cool. It sounds amazing. I hadn't used it that much before, but I'm a big fan now. It's a really nice filter. So how do you go about making arrangements then? Because the MPC has some arranging features as
No,
well.
I don't build the tracks on the MPC.
Okay.
I just jam and I got a lot of audio and I just cut it and looping, or just leave the whole jam.
Yeah. So do you have any kind of sort of updated way of storing your sounds? Because the 3000s only had a floppy, right?
Yeah, but I have to put like 500 pounds to change it. Like I have to change the screen and they got like a new reader that you can use just USB. That's why I'm not making beats there. Like I have to sample everything from scratch and like just record and then I just turn it off and it's not there anymore.
Oh yeah. One of those.
That's
Okay,
fun.
nice one. Yeah, there's something to it, man. It's like you make a choice and a selection on the spot, and you stick with it. That's it's a real sort of way to focus yourself, I guess.
Yeah, and make few ideas and like if you make 10 too, it's going to be like really good. And then the other, maybe you got a nice sound, like you got a nice kick drum that you can use in the sampler in another track. So
Yeah, sounds good.
yeah.
I think
So, yeah.
besides making techno, Ariel makes hip hop also,
Mhm.
and like even the way his approach to making music and the final sound of a techno track, you can even feel that that
The
organic-
hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And also drum and bass and funk. And so he brings all these flavors to dance music, which is amazing.
Very
Gives a-
versatile. Yes.
and gives a solid body to the tracks. Like they sound really like real.
Pumping.
Yeah.
I could see Ariel's face like going like, okay.
Just flushing. Ah, cute.
Yeah. Are there any hip hop ideas or techniques you use in your sound? Do you like sample records and stuff like that as well, or do you come up with stuff from scratch mostly?
I do kind of the classic stuff, or I try to like the way I do techno hip hop too, because I use synths too and try to do like crazy stuff, but with the hip hop drums. But mainly is I like to chop breaks and sample stuff. Yes, it's like that's the fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I also heard some tracks of yours that are pretty much ambient type stuff, right? So what is the kind of gear you use for that? Because that must be synths, right? That like actual analog synths, or
Yeah, she got a 106 at Juno, and I got it for like a few months. And sometimes I start techno with ambient and it goes well, or sometimes just like I start like a techno and put some pads on it, and then the pads become a track. and
Right.
it doesn't
Yeah,
mean
you
everything is
start with a techno track and then turns into an ambient thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds very familiar. Like, yeah. Maybe if I take out this and this and this, it sounds better. And then you keep reducing. Yeah. Keep reducing until you're. Yeah. Happens
Until it's
with.
gone.
Yeah, exactly. It happens with making beats as well. I tend to reduce a lot, and then at some point, it's just maybe 5% of what it started with is still there.
Yeah.
But who cares? Whatever happens, whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the way to go. Exactly. Not think too much. I say that, but I think a lot. Like I think probably too much. Like when I'm making tracks, I think like after like 2-3 hours, if I'm not getting anywhere with an idea, I start to question myself. Is this actually good? That's just a question that comes up a lot for myself, and then I kind of like when I start thinking that is the time that I have to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I know that I'm just losing just losing perception. Like when I just don't know if it's sounding good anymore. Like after 4 hours, 3-4 hours, it's time to just go.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it sounds. I think it happens to everybody who's working in the studio.
Yeah.
At some point, you're beyond the stage where you can actually judge well what you're doing, and because you're so sucked into it, and especially if you're listening to things on repeat, it's
crazy, huh?
the overview disappears somehow. You can always play it to you can always play it to somebody else, or
Yeah.
is that something you do? Like maybe send it to somebody and ask for their opinion.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Like with Jack, like who also shares a studio with me. So he always listens to it, and he's kind of saying, "Just keep going," because otherwise I'll just probably not finish it. To be honest, really, cause like I said, after 3 hours, if I'm not like still focused and getting on with it, I just start questioning: Is this really sounding good? Am I going too far now? It's time to quit. Like and just have a night off and come back next day, and
Yes, you over it.
Yeah, definitely. Generally, I think for me, it works best when I can finish the quickest. If I take too long and it drags it, to finish it off, it's like a painful process. Like, because I just struggle to listen to it so many times, and like I just finished this record and I'm kind of like, I'm dreading to getting the masters because I'll have to listen to it. And I'm kind of like, please, I don't want to listen to it because I'm just going to keep finding like little bits that, I could have done this better. This was not how I wanted to be. And, it's all on my head. And I'm the only one that's going to think that. I know that, but I don't take my own advice, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, also like we change so much from time to time. I mean, I'm not the same producer I was 6 months ago, or even the same person, and it just gets lost. I just learned really to unattach because it's I don't know, self punishment. Keep on like even I don't even like play all of my tracks because I don't want to listen to them again.
Yeah.
And like if the label approved and everything's fine, it's fine. It doesn't matter what you think anymore. It's not yours anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to call it off at one point because like I'm just like it's not good, and then the label says it sounds great that you don't need to do anything, but I'm still thinking that's not good. So is it on my head? I'm always asking myself,
Yeah.
It's a weird.
Yeah. I learned a lot from that. Sorry.
No, sorry. Go.
No, yeah. I think I learned that process to unattach first working with artwork, with graphic design and illustration, especially for clients, because it's never what you want, it's what the client wants. And at some point, even if you're doing a super creative and beautiful work, you just don't, you'd never finish it if you keep going like that and overthinking. And just feel bad about yourself, and you're always like self-conscious, and you're only like enjoying the process and never the result. And you're living like always in the future, and in that like anxiety for the future and depression from the past, and you're like never there at the end, So I just learned like, okay, it doesn't have to be such a big deal. Like do your job, finish it, like send it over. If it's approved, then it's fine. It doesn't
Move
matter
on.
anymore.
Yeah.
You're gonna
I
do
need
that
to take
forever and
advice.
ever and ever. Like,
I need to
Yeah.
hear more of that because it's good. It's good advice for me, because I think I get too attached with stuff, Like,
Well, and also
have
you
my-
can
yeah.
like you can make a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff, and you just make a bunch of stuff, and
You're gonna keep doing
you're
it,
gonna
then, right?
you're gonna have great ones, and
Yeah. Well, you have my number coming, so anytime.
Okay, I'll just send it over to you. What do you think of that?
Yeah, of
Every time.
course.
Cool.
send
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, after all, it's like it is like a snapshot, So like I think it's a very good point what Amanda just said. It's like you can.
who you are at the moment. Like,
Yeah, because if a few months down the line or a few years, I don't know, you hear it and you're like, what was I thinking? Yeah.
Did you have that before? Johan?
Me?
Yeah.
All the time, of course. Yeah. I mean, it is like I always say that the moment where I kind of abandon it, or where I call it finished, I call it like I'm temporarily satisfied, because I know the traps of overproducing something. If you really want to reach that point where you are happy with the entire thing, that there's nothing irritating anymore, you can get close to that. But at the same time, once you get in that area, I feel you kind of killed it already. You've removed the original spark and the thing that got you going when you were first excited about what you were doing.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
no
you polish
fun.
all the inconsistencies or the things that are annoying out,
Like the
and
imperfection,
then basically the whole spirit is gone. The whole
The whole aura. right?
yeah. So you have to. It is a bit of a balancing act, between keeping the vibe and the original energy that you felt when you were starting to work on it, and getting it as much into the shape that you are happy with it. But it's a thin line, because you can easily go too far, or you can leave it too much unpolished, and then it's obviously not finished. So at some point you have to decide, and like Amanda says, you have to get detached from it as much as possible, because that gives you the best perspective to judge what you were doing. But yeah, I mean, I've never listened to anything I've done and thought, wow, you've done a perfect track. There's always something. There's always something wrong with it.
I rarely play also my stuff. Like I just want to just
Yeah, and the more
It's all about perception, isn't it? Because if you
Yeah.
tell that to me, like for example, if any of you tell to me, I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about, But you will be like, no, but it's not perfect, So it's,
Yeah,
it's,
and the other thing is,
it's really
the other
weird.
thing is that you are the only person that would have these thoughts, because you were the person who created it. So you can identify the stuff that you thought were not so perfect or could be improved or whatever, and nobody else can, because if you would play it to anybody else than yourself, they would just take it as it is, and have like a complete blank. The context will be blank for them. There's nothing to say about it except for, do you like it or not? Does it sound great or not?
And the more you
So-
play, the track gets played by others. Each time it loses or it wins some of that aura, I guess. So it's never gonna sound the same to
Very true.
anyone ever. Like even like with paintings, or if you like reproduce something many times, it loses their original aura, but it changes into something else as well. So you have to really attach from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say that tracks have two lives, or music has two lives. One is when it's conceived by the producer or the maker of it. That is one life, and then basically you push it out into the world, and then other people are attaching memories to it, and other people are interpreting it, and it gets played in certain context with other music, and then it takes on a whole new identity and a new you call it aura. It's like it's no longer yours. It's like out there doing its thing, and accumulating
Yeah, it's energy.
value. Yeah, it's accumulating value,
Transforms.
which is put on it by other people. You know, by experiences, by memories, by stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the second
That's
life.
beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, but it's energy.
That's the beauty of it, after all.
It's like a little drama, you know. I enjoy the drama of it to a certain level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like your own little drama with it, but I think it's just being an artist, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like my art. Like, you know, like it's just some artist drama. Seriously.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think we were touching this subject a little bit before we went online. It's like it can be deceiving to watch like YouTube videos or people talking about their music in a more sort of scripted way, because it almost seems like it's painting by numbers. You know, like if you do
Yeah.
this, you get this. If you do this, you get this. But the whole sort of emotional part of it is left out. You know, how do you actually feel when you're doing it, and what is the there's all these things playing in your head, there's might be something you're trying to get in terms of aesthetics or emotion or feeling, and that is something that is just a really personal thing, and you can not really know about this until you actually start
Yeah.
creating something.
And you go to the club, and oh man, I miss the club. Fuck.
Yeah, you said you have your own club, right? So
Yeah.
what is it? Where is it? What's how is it?
We got this super kitsch hotel from the 80s, and we rent the basement and we change it, and the name is Tango.
Okay.
We got a Martin sound system, and it's like,
Oh, cool.
It's a sleeping beauty now. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's really cool, man. That you have your own place. Is it? Do you run it with friends, or are you doing it by yourself?
We're five now. I started having clubs since 2003
Okay.
because
That's Ariel's third club, right?
yeah, they're like there never was like a proper place to do our stuff. So
What's the
Like,
capacity? How big is it?
now it's like 400.
Oh, that's perfect size, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basement. Like the bar is like, close to a booth, cozy.
The bar is close to the booth. Nice.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
We would love to have you, the three of you.
yeah.
Sometime.
Oh yeah, man. I'm on my way.
we got-
Open the door.
We got Steve Rashman like two times here.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's like really nice guy.
Yeah, Steve is lovely, man.
Yeah.
I've worked with him twice during the lockdown period, and it's a really
He's a pioneer.
yeah, absolutely. But he never played live, and he didn't tell me until he arrived. He was like,
Really?
I've never done this, and let's just see how it goes. I mean, he was
Nice.
totally heroic about it. He's like, I invited him. Let's do a jam, and do everything from scratch without any planning.
Amazing.
And then we basically set something up in the afternoon, and he brought some gear, and he used some gear from the room here, and he just went for it. And I only found out he was he hadn't done this before, but it didn't sound like that. It was like, fuck, man, you should have tried it earlier, because it sounded amazing. Yeah, really,
you should
really
make
laid
something
back.
together.
Yeah,
also.
that's the plan. At some point, for
Yeah.
sure, we will do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So do you use the sound system sometimes to check your music on? Because that would be ideal, man. To have just a sound system.
Since COVID now, like it's there sleeping. But yeah, it's like once that I got time and I play in the club, yes, I always like, try it once for sure. Boom.
No, but I mean, if without audience, just to listen to it on a sound system.
Yeah, or during the sound check, yes.
Yeah.
I always go with a folder with like all the stuff I got during the week or the month, and boom, 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 play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like having a second pair of monitors. Just have access to a
big
sound
ones.
system. Yeah. So Martin sound, is it like the old the old ones, like the big square?
No, they're the new ones. Like the whole system is in one box.
Okay.
They are a right system.
Oh yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean that's always. I think that's every producer's dream, right? To have like a door next to your studio you can walk in and have a massive club sound system to check your stuff on.
Yes.
Definitely.
So in general, checking music in progress on during DJ sets, is that something you do? For example, Amanda, it's like when you're producing something and you or remixing something. Do you take it to on the road if you're playing somewhere and sneak it into your set just to see how it works?
Yeah, definitely. So Ariel helps me since day one with my mix downs and all the tips and feedbacks. And so he can always do like a limited bounce for me to try it over on the clubs. So we basically can always do that, right? Get something ready and in the same day try it out, which is great. But yeah, it's been a while. I can't do that. So
no, but I
like,
mean in general, because
yeah.
I've tried it before, but try to sneak it in because you're like excited about it and you want to see how it works in a set.
Yeah,
but
and sometimes you lose all the energy from the record and stuff. Like,
yeah, it did happen to me. Yeah.
and also it's not always actually giving you the information that you want because every sound system is different and
you need to tweak a lot also. So
yeah, you're competing with stuff that is already out and mastered and everything.
Exactly.
So it is fun to try, but it I mean I know a lot of people who update their versions according to what they felt like it sounded in the club, but I always find it very difficult. It's
sometimes
how can I do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do it with. I did a lot that with Ariel's tracks, for example, because he's always sending me demos and unreleased stuff that are not quite mastered, but you can try it out. And I have that always in my folders, in my own projects as well. But then, yeah, once I was playing in Moscow, and I'm always like playing, I don't know, layering things. So maybe for a couple of minutes, something that was like a demo was sounding. Then after my set, I heard these guys like in Russian. I just heard their first saying my name, and then I was like, okay, that's me you're talking about. And they were like, oh, you're Amanda. So were you playing some low quality files as if I was playing like 192 kbps tracks or something? I was like, no, maybe it was just like my friend's demos. I should tell them to just have like a better mix down. Anyway, it sounded for like 2 minutes, so who cares? And that's how you learn like not to play that shit anymore on good sound systems. Maybe when I'm like at a shitty one or a smaller place, I'll try them out just to see the energy of it. But as you said, you can't really have the best reference if it's not properly mastered. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, I think you can get some value from playing it in terms of seeing how the arrangement works and how things, how quickly things, how quickly things build, or you might actually, because in the studio you're like you have this sort of pace of working and you're in a less chaotic and a less energyful room. Basically you're just by yourself or with some other people, but not with a crowd. And in a crowd in real time, things sometimes can start sounding too loopy and too stretched out and stuff like that. So it does give you some information about that, but in terms of mix down, forget it. It's just not it doesn't give you that much information, I guess. You said you recognize this, Kami, like about the arrangement. If you play
sorry,
something,
can you repeat? Because I just
well,
had a glitch.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're talking about like trying your stuff out in a club. Things you're working on, and and sometimes, or most of the time, it doesn't really give you any clues about the sound because you're competing with other master tracks, but it does give you some clue about how the pace of the track works and how quickly things happen or how slow things happen. And you said you recognize that. So is that something you do or have
Is it
experience with?
something I've just started doing recently, like just at home? Actually, just trying to mix up all the tracks just to see how the arrangement like mix together. Really, I haven't actually done it out in the club because normally I play vinyl only and I don't do digital.
Oh
So
yeah.
I would have to get I'll get to get a test press or I'll have a dub plate to do that. So I try to do it at home, like in my own way. Well, yeah, and then I just hope for the best, basically. Like, yeah, I think it's I know just kind of playing blind with it as well a little bit for for the vinyl only. So yeah, but I do that at home. I've started doing it recently because I think it actually helps. It really helps, like just to see how it goes with the arrangement, definitely.
Yeah, because the energy is so different,
Mm-hmm.
in
Literally.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about playing live? You
Me.
Yeah, or all of you, yeah. Like I know you do that, Kami, but is there a certain way are there things you approach differently when you play live and then versus building stuff in the studio?
I mean, I actually haven't played live on my own ever alone, so I don't know how I would approach that because I don't think I have found my perfect setup for that, and I think that's what I mainly struggle because I will obviously I want to have a degree of improvisation, but I also want to have like kind of like my safe haven. For example, I will have a few samples and some things on the fly because if something goes wrong, I have that backup there for me, so I don't get lost. And I'm still in search of the right equipment for me that's gonna do the best. I haven't come across that way before.
Yeah, there's so many requirements. First of all, it needs to be easy to travel with, because
Yeah.
you're not gonna take your Juno 60 on the road, I guess.
Oh my god!
I try a few stuff. Like the first time I did a live, it was like the computer and these APCs, like only a box and few like effects on the mixer, and 4 outs, and then we moved to hardware, only hardware, and then we started using this Boss looper. Like we saw like Blauan using it and Berghain, and it's
cool.
like really nice. Like you save a lot of like for long parts. It's really nice.
Yeah, that could be one of
Yeah.
that's a tool that actually could function
Yeah.
as one of those backup safe haven things that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Maybe you should definitely look into
And
others.
now I just want to go with a computer and 2 machines and like a 92 4 channels, 2 effects, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
I want to try.
Yeah, there are two. Actually, I think there are two ways of doing it. One is to bring a lot of gear and have like a 16-channel desk or something, and then basically do it dub style. Like how the old dub.
Muting and
Love
So
it, man.
yes,
Absolutely love it.
it is actually quite amazing way to do it. I used to do it
Yeah.
back in the 90s. Just take all the gear, have everything sequenced. And basically
super
just
fun.
loop.
You got the effects on and bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, and basically
yeah.
everything just loops and loops and loops, and then you make the arrangement on the desk, and it's a real fun way of doing it, and you can make beautiful, smooth transitions between things, and it's actually the desk would be in that case is like your
It's the
instrument.
instrument,
Yeah. It's like playing the desk basically, and the other way of doing it is basically to have a very small selection of gear. And with a small mixer, like you said, I mean, a lot of people who play live use a DJ mixer because a DJ mixer is a performance tool, and it's a very focused way of doing things. So it's more like DJing with gear, like DJing with synths and drums, and that's also a really effective way of doing things. But it's like one is easier to travel with than the other, I guess. But the dub style is just so much fun, It's
and
like
also to make music is amazing. Like when you got everything sounding through the desk and just like moving stuff and leaving just the sands, and it's magic.
I can do that all day, like literally. That's
magic.
basically what I like to do. But then you have to call it off because then you never make a track if you just come here and do that all day, But it's just so much fun. You can do that all day.
I mean, you can. That's one thing I sometimes give myself as a present to myself. Like if I finish something and the main kind of result or the desired thing has happened, and it's recorded and it's done. I treat myself to make the dub mix,
nice.
just to have the same settings, just have everything the same, and then just start fucking around and make the sort of stretched out crazy version. And it happened actually quite a lot of times that eventually that became the final version, so you have your sort of like official version, that sort of meets all the criteria of being like a track that works, and then doing
And
the
you go crazy.
yeah. Adrian Sherwood style is Fritz is saying. Hey Fritz, what's up? Shout out to Fritz. Yeah, absolutely. So actually, Adrian Sherwood is a guy who used the original ATB, the Trident ATB desk, the one you have the sort of the remake of.
Nice.
And that was his way of working, just have everything across the desk and just dub it out. That was the way of their the way they did the arrangement.
Yeah,
But
in
it's
Sao
fun.
Paulo, they have this sound engineer, which is also the producer. I think Ariel met him with me, Victor Rice, that's his name.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's like a guy from New York that lives in Sao Paulo for ages, and he basically mixes bands. And he just like, okay, you hire him for his day. He can do like, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 tracks in one day. So let's suppose your EP has 5 tracks. He finishes super fast the mix downs of these 5 tracks, and he just uses the rest of his time to do dub versions of his
Oh,
tracks.
nice.
And his versions always sound better than and I really have like
It's really good.
it's really good. And I have this dream like to have an album mixed by him, but with using his versions and like seeing what comes out from it. It sounds so beautiful. No one in like techno or dance music has ever like worked in that way, as far as I know, in Sao Paulo. So I think it would be a really good challenge for both and a very beautiful result. Everything sounds really beautiful out of that desk.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. I mean, it's maybe not like standard techno, but Stefan Betke, Paul. That's pretty much his approach for playing live. He uses the dub desk style method to create his track. So it's basically
amazing.
Yeah. You should go for it, Amanda. That sounds like a real fun project.
Yeah. I really just don't want to waste that on any like EP or random thing. Maybe it should be like an album with like intro, outro, like parts, and when you tell that whole story. So I want to keep that for like a special release. But I'm definitely doing it. Yeah. And if you want his contact as well, I can just find him.
Yeah, sounds good. Fritz was mentioning Adrian Sherwood. That's one of my heroes, actually. When I got into when I first got into electronic music, I wasn't really aware that it was electronic music, because it's just, I didn't know anything about the process. But it sounded so fucking alien, what this guy was doing, like the Major Malfunction album and stuff. Have you heard about that?
No.
No, you should check it out. It's
I've heard about
crazy.
Him. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's check.
It's like a bunch of drum machines and then run through desks. I mean, now I understand the process, but back then it just sounded crazy to me. It's like really, hard, hard hitting beats and just sort of alien sounding things with flangers and delays and shit like that. And it's still an example. I mean, everybody has these moments where they realize, wow, this is really getting to my heart. This is really inspiring. And Sherwood was one of the things I heard which immediately spoke to me, and I thought, wow, I want to be able to do this.
Maybe you can drop us the link afterwards.
Yeah, Fritz is also mentioning Techhead. If you just do a search for Techhead.
Okay.
That's the band I'm talking about. It's not all good. I think the earlier stuff is pretty much the best they did.
Nice.
But it's
Thanks.
Yeah, it's got elements of hip hop. It was a sort of mid '80s, so just when hip hop started to happen in New York, like the early stuff, they kind of brought elements into that into their music. So it's British, you know, so it has a totally different vibe, but it has sort of offbeats and, you know, punchy drum machine type sounds, but, you know, spaced out like crazy, you know, like really spaced out
Sick.
and dubby. Yeah, it's sick stuff. I'm sure you will like it.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit thin now if you listen to it, but it sounded massive when I first heard it. You know, it lacks a bit of bass. I think production these days is much more advanced than back
Yeah,
then.
for
you
sure.
know?
But I don't know. The music is still there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I mean,
sorry, yeah, I was just gonna. I mean, I'm talking about myself, but I'm interested in hearing what if you had any of those aha moments or you know, examples of things that kind of got you into it.
I mean, I got in touch with the dub mixing when I was living in England, actually. So that's when I got into it. I was living in Bristol, so I was kind of in
Oh.
between like this kind of a lot of dub producers because I was at university there. So I met a lot of people, and you know, I had to do dub mixing assignments when I was at uni, and I was just kind of okay, this is it. I really like that. How can I take this and adapt this into what I want to do? And I think I've figured it out now. So yeah, it really inspired me. And you know, there's so many amazing producers. Like Bristol has a huge dub scene. Yeah, it was really inspiring. Actually, when I was there, the kind of music that I was making at that time was not really what I actually am making right now. You know, it was just a bit like spaced out, like just like sparse. And it's funny how being in a place or an environment can influence what you do a lot.
Mm.
Yeah, it can change your mindset so much, you know. And yeah, but like I said, I thought, how can I translate like what I want to do by, you know, using this technique, which was what I really enjoyed. So
Yeah, I mean, the way you described your process, it does definitely have some elements of that. Yeah, running things
Yeah.
through the desk and adding delays and just fill up the spaces and, you know, experiment. Yeah.
just feedbacking, reverbs and delays, of course, just being really careful. So I'm just
Yeah. Yeah, it requires some control. Yeah, if you get out of control, it can blow up many things including your ears.
yeah, for sure.
So was there a moment where the first thing you heard that kind of ticked your you know, sort of sparkled your imagination, like the stuff that without even realizing what it was? What is the first kind of things that got you into it, like inspired by, you know, the stuff you got inspired by to get into making music yourself?
You mean just like the mixing or?
No, just anything. Things you heard when you were listening to it, like were like, oh man, I would definitely try to do something myself.
I'm not sure. I mean, like it's a really weird one for me because I've been DJing for so long now. It's been more than 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a DJ for a long time before I started producing. So I always had that like kind of like demand inside of me because I knew a lot, and you know, I knew a lot. I heard a lot of things, so I was always trying to think, how do I get to make those things sounds the way I want it, you know? And I think also because I knew a lot, that kind of didn't help me to get to where I am. So I had to like just like, okay, I need to just like go away from this, stop. That's when I dropped out and I just stopped playing gigs because I wanted to just detach from that. And then I ended up at university. I wasn't planning it, it just happened. And you know, when I saw myself, you know, I was at uni and I went to Abbey Road recording bands there. It was amazing. Also a real world. I had these opportunities which I don't know how they happened, but it did. So I'm really grateful. And I think that also inspired me a lot, you know, by being in an environment with a lot of people with the same like frame of mind, you know. And yeah, like I said, I just take that and how can I adapt that to what I want to do. Yeah.
Abbey
So,
Road,
like,
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Talking about a legendary place, eh?
Yeah, it was incredible. It's like it's got such a massive energy when you're in there, you know, like just when you are there, you're like, you think like how many records, how many albums were recorded in that place. It's really special, actually.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
Wow, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, Victoria, what is there? Is there something in your life, like a moment when you got like the itch to do something, like to try to produce your own tracks? Is
I think
anything like heroes or things you heard that really blew your mind that made you go, I need to do this?
I think like house music, 80s, 90s house music, Radiohead, stuff like that. Yes, definitely. Um, I wanted to ask you actually, like you were talking about when you started that you didn't really know you were gonna get into this, and compared to now, like how was your process of like choosing what you want, what you need, the access to stuff when you started, and like how did you decide what to use first as compared to now that the music industry has changed so much, the clubbing scene, the gear, like how was, I imagine that's going to be a long answer, but like
Well, I mean, first of all, there wasn't any, So
yeah.
I mean, the amazing range of gear that is available now, if you want to start out, that wasn't there. I mean, I think, yeah. Well, I started with tape first of all. I started doing like tape loops and doing like mega mixes and stuff like that. And I was into turntablism at the time, so I was like making beats with tape and records basically, just chopping things up and yeah. And but of course, I got introduced to samplers and drum machines at the time when they were just starting to come out and become affordable, because before that, it like when I started being interested in music, those things were just not on the market. You had like Fairlights and shit like that, like really, really expensive stuff. But it's, I think in the mid 80s, late 80s, these, some, like Akai and Roland started making samplers which were affordable. So I think one of the first thing I got was like a sampler and drum machines. And luckily for me, it was right around the time when all the studios were going like they had like the trend in synths back then was like to have like massive keyboards with preset sounds, so everybody was discarding their mono synths, like, so I got all the classic gear for dirt cheap prices, like the EMS stuff, modular synths, Roland modular synths, ARP 2600.
Nice.
I bought them for next to nothing. So I was lucky to to sort of hit the space around that time. So I was able to collect synths, and drum machines for without having to invest too much. But obviously, there was no YouTube. There was no. I mean, there were a few
No
magazines.
eBay.
No, there were a few magazines where you could see like big producers from LA sitting behind massive SSL desks,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and it was so far removed from just fooling around with gear. But it just was a slow process, just got things one by one and just basically tried the entire, to turn those boxes completely inside out, learn everything about it, and try to discover them in a way, because that's all you can do. You just buy something and you just start working with it and find your way. Just find your way by exploring and by trying things out. That's the way I got into it. And I think, to be honest, that's quite a healthy way of doing things, because you develop your own ways of making things, because obviously there is no rule for how to make something as long as it sounds good.
Yes.
And these days I feel it's if you get into it, most people start out by working on a laptop, and you are instantly presented with an entire studio, like mixing, treating sounds, sound design, synths, drum machines, everything can be inside there. And I think though the amount of choice can be quite intimidating. And
Yes.
so back then it was like totally handicapped in a way, totally limited. But somehow it makes you work in a way, maybe work harder to get something out of it. I think that's it's a good way to get into it, by just exploring. And that's still something that stayed with me till today. If I get something, I don't care what it is as long as it makes sound, and then just go into it and squeeze some things out of it, you know.
And of those first pieces of gear that you got, do you still have some of those, or some of those do you still consider like essential for your process now?
Well, I no longer use hardware samplers that much anymore because it's a bit. I mean, and I know Ariel uses it, but
It takes time.
yeah. I mean, I've sometimes used them, but it you know, for most audio jobs, the computer is probably the easiest way to do it. Unless I want to have some kind of flavor to it, then I might reach for something that sort of fucks up the sound a bit, you know. But yeah, I still have most of the early stuff that I used. I sold a lot of stuff too, but I still got like the classic, you know, the Roland stuff, you know, the old 808, 909, 303, 707, blah blah blah. So yeah, and all the sort of synths that now have become classics, I still kept them, but. Yeah, sometimes they're part of the process. Sometimes they aren't. You know, I mean, I've had them for so long. So sometimes if I don't use it, I don't use them for a while. When I get them back into the system and part of the chain, almost feels like rediscovering them. You know, like because it's a different room, different time, different way of approaching things, and they keep being completely limitless sources of inspiration and material. So that's pretty cool.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, for me, it was the other way around. So I always admired this way of approaching, because I don't know. I saw the digital stuff first, and then okay, where does this come from? And then I had access to, you know, the hardware. And I was also telling you the other session that, you know, for us to have access to that, we have. Now more people have it here, but we have to order them, and it's not that you can just go somewhere and, you know, you're gonna.
Yeah, but I mean, but it is similar to what you were describing now. Is similar to my situation when I started. You know, I didn't own everything. I would, you know, it would just be like a synth and that a friend bought, and then you borrow it for a week and you know. Just get some sounds out of it, you know.
That's how we do it here.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's totally legit because you know it you know having access to everything doesn't always necessarily mean you are better off, you know. You know, being restricted to something also has its advantages, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah, nothing wrong with working in the box. I think right now is it's a total golden age if you want to get involved in making music. You know, it's it is so.
You got everything.
Yeah, it is pretty much. It is quite way more affordable than it used to be, and more accessible. So you know, even on your mom's computer, you can download some shit and start going. You know,
Yes.
if you're a kid. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really accessible these days. You know.
It's crazy how it changed in the last like 10, 15 years, because there was all this shift to like making music with the computers, and then suddenly hardware like kind of like came back like in vogue, and then they made all like the affordable synths, like, which is, it's really nice to have all the options available, like
Yes.
for, you know, for you to choose from. I mean, I didn't have that choice, you know, in the beginning, like, you know, it was super expensive to have all the stuff, so it took me a lifetime to collect everything, you know. But, you know, it takes time, yeah, definitely. Also finding what works for, you know, for yourself, you know, is, yeah, it can take time, you know, but it's fun, of course.
Yeah, best way is just to approach it with an open mind, you know. Just get something and really try to get your head around this piece of gear, you know, whether it's a, I don't know, drum machine or a synth, you know, just try things out and see what happens. That's the best way to do it. I mean, again, you know, coming back to the availability of all these tutorials and YouTube examples and stuff. To be honest, it is sometimes cool to, if you have something in mind, like maybe I should get a module for, you know, like some filter thing or something, and you start looking around. There's obviously a lot of information you can get from some general information you can get, like features and a sort of general idea about the sound. But it all changes when you have your own hands on it, and
Yes.
then you can really sort of fine tune and find the, discover the range and find the sweet spots that you would take, that you would find, because that's just a really, really personal thing.
I have
Finding,
a question for Cami. If um, you said that you were DJing for a long time, and then you felt you had to detach from that in order to start producing, and then after that you started DJing again. So what was the difference for you in the results of your production after the detachment from the dance floor, and then when you started DJing again? Like, how was the feedback between both processes for you?
For myself, or I mean
For
for
yourself,
like,
for you.
it was great. It was great. I feel much more confident. Like I don't know. Like it just yeah. I just feel good. It did good for my head as well. But I don't know. I think a lot of people don't. A lot of people have different experiences. I think in the majority of people I know, they produce first and then they start DJing. I don't know, like it can vary, but that's the way it went for me. It took me a while to actually like realize, okay, I really want to learn this, I really want to do this, but I want to detach from this because I tried to do like those short production courses while I was touring at the time, and I could never really give my energy to do anything like that because I was always super tired during the week. And I said, okay. And then suddenly I just like, I was kind of like, there was a time where like techno wasn't really like, like really good. Like techno had like, like that big like up, and then like minimal came and then it turned down. And then there was a period that techno was kind of like gone, and I wasn't really inspired by the music that was happening at that time. And I just thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to, like detach and try something else, and that's, slowly I start detaching it. It wasn't like I said, okay, I'm stopping now, it took me like a few years to like finally stop it. And just like when I saw I was in a university, it just happened. I wasn't planning it. And here I am now back again, so.
does your experience with playing with vinyl played any role in the way you approach making your music? Because I can tell from my perspective, since we started the Stoor project, which we, one of the outputs is the vinyl records that we do, like recording recording the jams here and then put them on vinyl. It made me kind of focus the process of making music a bit better, or not better, but it shaped the focus, because I know it's going to be on vinyl, so you have like, ideally you have like 12 minutes on one side, what's going to sound good after it's gone through the process of cutting, and what doesn't, and in a way, a lot of my techniques and in mixing and even in choosing what I want to put on the record as a track, it has changed. It has kind of influenced that process a bit. Like my mixes are a bit tighter, and it's I think of something more like a song rather than something that is really spun out, because there's a time limit and there's a sonic aspect to cutting things to vinyl. Is that something that played a role in your experience with vinyl in the way you approach your writing or your producing?
Maybe a little, but not that much. I think slowly, I think I'm getting more into that. Like you're saying, like, like just trying things, and those things that are gonna work on vinyl, like some like really like the low end is gonna all get cut, and like things like that when they're going to cut in vinyl, and you learn within the process as well. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's just how it's going for me at the moment. Yeah, just learning within time, basically.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like when I'm doing something, and just the idea that I will at some point in the process hold a piece of black PVC that is going to contain what I'm doing, it sort of pushes me towards that format, if you know what I mean, in my thinking. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Because
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to discard, or that you have to that are not possible if you don't have those limits. I mean, you can. There's like a lot of choices in sound design and in production mixing techniques that you can get away with if it's like an unlimited length, or you know, like you especially in the sub bass or ultra highs and stuff like that, or in the stereo field even, that you can just you can record it. It's fine as long as it stays in the digital domain. But as soon as you know it's going to end up on vinyl, you somehow, or at least somehow, kind of shape it towards that format, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a fun way to do it because it just feels good, you know. I find myself taking extra care of some things because I know it's going to be physical, you know. It feels more sort of final, you know what I mean? It feels more like more of a statement than just having some WAV file floating around, you know.
Yes.
No, totally. I mean, especially for me, because I'm still a vinyl DJ, so yeah. I mean, it goes without saying. So I play vinyl, so I'm always caring about it, basically. Yeah, definitely.
So, do you recognize that, Ariel, for example, like the format that you will finally be releasing something in? Does it influence the way you approach the music, or does it influence decisions along the way?
I try to, I don't know, the best that I can always, but yeah, if I know it's going to be for vinyl, it's going to be a extra care always. Yes.
Really? Yeah.
And sometimes like you're making a track and you know and you feel it's gonna like this is gonna be super nice on vinyl, but not a lot of record labels here.
Yeah,
But
there is
yes,
something to
sure.
it. You know, it's funny how you can think about it, because it is more it's sort of more real, you know, because it's going to be printed somewhere and it's going to be duplicated on vinyl.
Yeah, and the
somehow it
sound.
feels different. Yeah.
And sounds totally different.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What about you, Victoria? Do you recognize that idea, that feeling?
I mean, I like Ariel. I always try to do my best, but I don't know. And I'm super OCD always. Like I laugh because Amanda was saying, like, you know, you have to, you know, detach from stuff and feel free. I never feel that. I'm always like, oh my God, this has to go there. And then, you know, so yeah, I'm pretty OCD.
And what about you? Oh, Amanda is muted. But no, it's. Do you? I mean, do you recognize that idea, like that feeling level of if something is going to end up on some physical release? Do you treat it differently during the process?
Oh, well, I never thought it in that perspective you just said, and for me, it was very interesting to hear you saying all those things. And no, I never thought it in that way. But anyway, I only released stuff on vinyl twice so far, and now the third one is coming out. And I had the privilege of working with people that I know in person, and they were like taking good care of it. So I think if anything needed to be changed or more like sharpened or whatever, like for the vinyl purpose, I would get that feedback, because my first record was out on Kami's label, Kami and Jack's label, Underwags, and so they are just like super professional, and they have the studio, so they gave me a lot of good feedback. And yeah, so if Camila thinks about it in that way, because she's a vinyl DJ, so it transferred to me because she was like taking care of it, you know. Then my second record came out on Philip Gorbachev's label. And well, for that was the classic case that I wanted to change the track after he was mastered, because it was coming out on vinyl. And I was like, I can't believe I'm regretting the second time I'm releasing on vinyl. And now I just love it. And Philip was like, why are you like overthinking? This is one of my favorite remixes. Like, what are you doing? You can change it if you want, but like, I really like it that way. And anyway, so I had these people taking care of the process for me. But now, like, I'm going to start looking at it different. I really like what you said. And yeah, it makes sense. And of course, you take extra care when it's coming out on record, because in my perspective it's more about, not in a technical way only, but it's more about the thing of the aura of the track. Like, I please don't be one of those tracks that I hated after, because it's gonna be on vinyl, you know. So so I really try to go like to do the track in a way I'm not gonna get sick of it, but you never know. So
Cool. I think it's 10 o'clock, people, and I don't want to keep dragging this on because Kami has a party to attend, I guess.
Happy birthday!
The birthday hat is back on, I see. So you're ready. You're ready to move. What we usually do is at the end is give everybody a little opportunity to to share with people what they're working on. Maybe they've got some streams or gigs coming up or some releases they want to share with people. So what about Kami goes first, and yeah, let us know. What do you want to share? Is there anything we should look out for from you?
Okay, tomorrow I am doing a workshop, like a panel with DBS Music, which is a university in England that I actually studied. And I'm going to be part of this panel with other graduates, talking about how can you find a sustainable career path in the industry, basically music industry. So if you want to attend, you have to check the dbsmusic.uk website and just like sign up for it. It'll be tomorrow evening.
Cool.
I've got some really cool things. I can't talk about them. Some music coming, probably. I think it's at the end of the year, so I'm really looking forward to speak about it, but I can't. So maybe next time. Yeah, I mean, I've got a few gigs, hopefully, if everything goes to plan. Some gigs in Paris, in the UK as well. Hopefully Berlin soon. So yeah, fingers crossed. Streams, I think for now, I need a little bit of a break. I've done quite a lot, so I think, yeah, for now, I just want to have a little bit of time left.
Awesome. So yes, thanks, Kami. Really nice to see you and speak to you, especially on your birthday. Yeah, always nice to catch up. Amanda, you already told us something in the beginning about the 100 remixes that you've got coming up.
yeah.
Anything you can reveal about those, like or stuff you can talk about at this point to share with people?
Well, basically, nothing's out yet. So yeah, I think in next week the CD remix EP is coming out from this artist Marshall from Milan. It's a label called 24 Hour, from a venue that is called Tempio del Futuro Perduto, where I played my last one of my last tours in Europe. And they have this amazing studio where all the artists go there to tour, and they just make a jam in one day, and they end up releasing stuff. And this time it's a remix for this artist. So there's a bunch of cool people coming out, and I just don't know, because everything got so postponed that maybe everything's coming out next week at the same time. So like, if I just can, I'm always updating my bio in my Instagram on my Linktree. So just keep posted, and you're gonna see there. And then there is our track with Victoria that is already out on Planet X label, and the link is in my bio as well. So everything's there.
Awesome, thanks a lot. Also, thank you for joining. Yeah, it seems to be the thing that happens at the moment. You know, people are just holding on to things until things start moving again, and then I'm sure we're gonna be blasted with shitloads of stuff.
yeah, all at once. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, thanks again, Victoria. Anything you want to share with us and the people?
I think next week I'm releasing this kind of housey. I usually make techno, but it's more kind of a housey EP on our label In Between. Also, an EP on Jujuka is coming up, Julia Gover's label. Then I'm working on tracks for 2 other labels that I'm not sure if I can mention. And then I have some stuff coming up with a Russian producer called Tolga, who is super talented. It was such a pleasure working with him. He uses the
cool.
Octa track a lot. And for me, it was very special to meet him, and I'm very
Here we
excited.
go again.
Fuck you, Ultra Track.
We finally,
That's the end.
we finally finished that. So and then there's one other release on this French label, maybe on vinyl also. And yeah, I can't really, I think, give some details, but stuff coming out throughout the year. Yes.
Okay, so people just should just keep an eye on what's going on
Yes.
via your socials and stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very great. Okay, nice. Ariel, anything you want to share?
Check counter change. Yeah, the
Counter change.
LP's coming soon, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, definitely. We'll keep an eye on it. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. A really nice chat. I had a really good time as always with you guys. One last thing I want to say is that we have a Discord server where all the Twiddlers hang out when we're not chatting like this. It's a nice place to get connected to people who are also in the producing field and sharing tips and tricks and worries and struggles and everything. So have a look there. I think Sander should be. I think the link should be in the description anyway. But I think Sander will post the link to it. It's a really nice place to hang out. And the other one is that we have a Patreon page. I think I already mentioned the sound packs we're giving away every month. So this month it's the SDS 8 and Akai MF. I don't forget the name. 42, whatever. MFC 42 filter. Yeah. It's a Ableton drum racks. It's either Ableton drum racks. We did it together with Fritz here in the studio.
Nice.
And it's a pretty crunchy collection actually. But we have one every month, so once you become a Patreon, you get like some sound shit stuff thing every month, So that's one, and we also do master classes and stuff like that. So have a look there, and that's pretty much it for me. So thanks again, people. Really enjoyed
Thanks for having us. That's so much fun. Thank you.
Super fun.
All right. Have
Happy
a nice
birthday,
one.
Kami.
Yeah, enjoy the party, Kami.
Yes.
All right. See you later. Ciao, ciao.
Very good to you.
An honor.